pulled it off. The house that they were filming in was ready for demolition and they wanted to borrow that house. Why, hello there YouTube and welcome back to 31. So we're on day 11 now and it is the third day of first and last week, and today we're starting the first installment of a horror franchise. It's George A. Romero's Dead series, and the first installment, of course, we all know is Night of the Living Dead. So this was the zombie movie that started it all, the modern zombie trope, the introduction to George A. Romero. Due to a distributing error, the film has become public domain, meaning that the modern zombie genre is, like I say, public domain, but it was this movie that started it all. So in this we follow a young woman named Barbara who finds that the world has become overrun with the dead, and she takes refuge in a farmhouse with some other characters, including Ben, and they have to survive the night of the living dead. And of course the zombies are trying to fight their way in. We get some, a lot of graphic stuff, which was probably considered really graphic for the time, and then they make it through the night. But Ben, unfortunately, is mistaken for one of the dead and doesn't make it and is shot. So that's the story there. So what did I like about this one? Well, first of all, there are a few controversies with this, including the execution of its main character, Ben, who was played by a black male actor, which was a huge deal at the time. And then when they kill him off at the end, George A. Romero kind of wishes he could have written that differently, because this actually premiered on the same week of Martin Luther King's assassination. But with the remake from 1990, he got to, correct some of those errors, like giving them a reason to kill Ben by him becoming a zombie, and of course Barbara evolving from a damsel in distress to a badass fighting survivor at the end. So I can see why George A. Romero approved of the remake so much. I mean, he still produced that one, but Tom Savini directed. But anyway, we're on with the 1968 original. So this movie was made on a tight budget, and they actually pulled it off. The house that they were filming in was ready for demolition, and they wanted to borrow that house to make this movie, and they were allowed to do so. The extras that he got to do the work for free, playing the zombies, would definitely again benefit things, and the fact that he got all these people to work for free was amazing. And how this would go on to become a staple in horror forever. And of course, this also, here's a little fact: when the zombies were eating the flesh during that flesh eating scene, they were actually eating ham or meat on some fake bones, or real bones I think. Either way, they were eating ham with chocolate syrup to create the blood effects, because it was in black and white. There is, I believe, a recolored edition where they made the blood look red, There's even an animated version of this film, which is shot for shot. And of course, many other people have done their own version of this film, because like I said, it is in the public domain. In fact, you can probably watch this on... In fact, yeah, you can watch this on YouTube for free. And yeah, I guess the downward with that was that George A. Romero would not get royalties for it, but he would for his other zombie flicks that he would make after, like Night of the Living, like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and, you know, Land of the Dead, which we'll get to in this one. And each of those have all had their own remakes, like, you know, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, but as standalone films. But this one is quite good. Is quite good. It's brilliant, and the acting was top notch. Even George A. Romero made a cameo as the newsreader in this movie, and of course, there is one thing I don't like: the character of Barbara. I feel she's a bit irritating. You know, like she's just there, being pathetic and, you know, not helping anyone at all to barricade the house, and is just there screaming. Like I said, George A. Romero approved of the changes that were made in the remake to her character, and I can see why. And she does survive, and I'm like, yeah. But, you know, other than that, it's a great film. The whole zombies gathering around the house, that whole flesh-eating scene, which I think is a brilliant one, the whole, you know, the dead, you know, because before this, zombies were mainly like voodoo zombies or mind control zombies. They weren't the flesh-eating, brain-eating kind like we would go to know from this one. So like I said, it was the first of its kind, and I believe we wouldn't have had zombie flicks, you know, follow with this, like, you know, Zack Snyder's interpretation of Dawn of the Dead or The Walking Dead, for example. I don't think that would have existed if it weren't for this film. So, like I say, George A. Romero invented the modern day zombie. He did for zombies what Bram Stoker did for vampires and what John Landis did for werewolves. Made them modern and brought them into a modern society. And the fact that we are still watching and talking about this film to this very day after George A. Romero's passing, it's, you know, definitely left its mark in history and, you know, is immortalized. And, you know, the fact that you can watch this film for basically free on the internet, you know, is brilliant because, yeah, it's black and white, but like I say, it was done on a tight budget. It was the 60s. And I don't mind the black and white quality. In fact, I think it makes the film look somewhat better. I mean, I could see it in colour, because I do believe that there is a colorized version of it. Haven't seen the animated one, but this one still holds up as one of the best in Romero's Dead series. And also, his Dead series I don't think ever lowered in quality throughout the decades. Throughout the decades of the installments that he made, like Dawn of the Dead, which was set like a week after, even though it was made 10 years later, or Day of the Dead, or, you know, Land of the Dead, where it's decades after the events of this one that we're reviewing. So, yeah, other than my small dislikes there with like the character Barbara and some of the handles of the characters, even the basement scene where the girl is now turned and she's eating her father, then kills her mother and starts to eat her. That's quite a scene there. Anyway, what am I going to rate today's review? You know what, this for me, I'll give it 4 stabs out of 5 for Night of the Living Dead. So there you go, there's my review for today. So join me tomorrow where I'll review the last installment of this zombie franchise. And yeah, so have you seen it? You probably have. It's a daft question probably, but yeah, feel free to share all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and share with your friends, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All of my social media links are linked down below in the description, so you can check all that out. I have been Random Ross. This has been 31 Day 10. day 2 of no, not day 2, day 3 of first and last week. So yeah, see you tomorrow, and until next time, don't have nightmares.